cybernetics.
Talk to him now.
AT, Andre.
Come on, Dre.
Yep. Tripping with Let's Go. Woo! Tripping with Theo Bold.
What's your name?
Theo So Bold.
Yeah.
Driggity. Let's go. Tripping with Theo Bold. Tripping.
What are we doing?
Tripping with Theo Bold.
Come on, Dre.
Let's go. Mic check. 1, 2. We on? Mic check. We on? Can you hear me? Let me just do a quick sound check to make sure I'm on. Make sure I'm on and live and popping. There we go. So we are good. Hey y'all, welcome to the 66th episode of Tripping with Theo Bold, the final episode of Tripping with Theo Bold for 2022. Welcome to the show. Glad you could tune in. Before we go any further, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tell a friend to tell a friend, do all that fun internet stuff like the old people say. INNANET, 1T, internet, all one word. Yeah, weird, right? But let me go and pop in this chat right quick. You guys know I always struggle with this damn YouTube chat. You know, YouTube be I don't know why theirs doesn't work like Twitch, but it is what it is. And we are here. So boom, I got the chat popped in to see who is checking on little old me and the little podcast that could. Because we gonna do this shit. Am I cussing? No, I can't cuss yet, man. I forgot. They got the 2-minute mark, and I'm already on YouTube, and they done probably pushed my video down to negative viewership now. You know. So, anyways, I'm gonna talk kind of free for the next 2 minutes, you know, and then we gonna loosen up the reins a little bit. So, anyways, as I said before, this is the final episode of 2022 of Tripping with Theo Bold. This is the goals episode, right? The goals and values and goals, right? I'm going to talk about values and goals. I'm going to talk about really, this episode is for me. You know, this is for me to like hold myself accountable, but I'm going to get into that in a few seconds. Before I go any further, let me go ahead and do some promotion, and we got to do the tongue twisties. So there we go. So today's episode is tied to two things, right? This is a very special episode. I'm glad that I'm ending the year on episode 66. Because at first, I was like, 66 is a weird number, and I don't really like that number. But look at me. Look at this, right? If you're a Bills fan like me, you know all about this movie right here. Buffalo 66, man. Classic movie. All right, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. Buffalo 66, that's my movie, man. One of my favorite movies. Christina Ricci's in it. Just go watch it. It's to me it's funny, but you just gotta watch it for yourself. And then the actor Vincent Gallo, man, this dude looks like a comedian that looks like this dude, and it just dawned on me who this comedian looks like, man. But Joe Welke, this guy from Maryland. Real funny comedian. Joe Welke looks just like Vincent Gallo. I gotta let Joe know he looked like Vincent Gallo. Matter of fact, I think that should be his Halloween costume for next year, man. If he didn't already go out as Vincent Gallo for Halloween. But anyways, that's one tie to episode 66, Buffalo 66, and then got to tie in one player here, Seantrel Henderson. I remember hearing his name called before. I remember hearing his name. But he's a lineman. I think he played guard. No, he was a tackle for the Bills. I think he was a first round pick, like 7th overall pick or something like that from the University of Miami. So Seantrel Henderson, number 66. This is tied to him as well. But at first, when I was doing this episode, I was like, man, 66 is a weird number because, I'm a Star Wars geek too. And that's where the Emperor Palpatine sent out Order 66 to kill all the Jedi, man. So that's a painful thing if you're a Star Wars fan. But Is what it is. So we here. Let me go ahead and do these tongue twisties right quick, right? So today's episode, and now of course when I start the pod, I get all these fucking noises in my ring. Sorry, I'm cussing. Sorry, I didn't mean to cuss. YouTube. I'm sorry, YouTube. I didn't mean to cuss. All this randomness is like really messing with me right now, And I can't. So I apologize for being late. I was a little late today. The pod was supposed to start around 9. Then I pushed it back to noon. Then I couldn't find my earbuds, and I use my earbuds because it blocks out a lot of noise and it helps me focus on what I'm saying. And we got a producer across the hall, MC Beats and such, MC Beats, MC Make a Beat, and his bass be loud, man. Like my walls be rattling, whenever he, makes his beats, and then sometimes you got a helicopter just hovering over this facility. So the earbuds help me focus on what I'm saying, and then my ring chime went off. So bear with me today, last episode. We gonna make it work. Let's see what else we got. So boom, 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 boom. That's right. Let's do the tongue twisties. So today's tongue twisty is brought to you by the letter P in the alphabet, because P is the 16th letter of the alphabet. I think. See, A, B, C, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. Yep, 16. I just had to double check to make sure. I know that's kind of crazy, but whatever. Is what it is. So, there we go. Let's read along with me, right? Here we go. Peter poked a poker at the piper, so the piper poked pepper at Peter. We're going to say that again. Peter poked a poker at the piper, so the piper poked pepper at Peter. Peter poked a poker at the piper, so the piper poked pepper at Peter. Paul, please pause. See, I can't even say that one. Paul, please pause for proper applause. Paul, please pause for proper applause. Paul, please pause for proper applause. Number 3, please prune plum trees promptly. Please prune plum trees promptly. One more again. Please prune plum trees promptly. All right. Picky pickpockets pick pickpockets. Well, I like that one. That can really mess me up. Picky pickpockets pick pickpockets. Picky pickpockets pick pickpockets. And the last one. Please prepare the paired pairs near the unprepared pairs near the pool. Please prepare the paired pairs near the unprepared pairs near the pool. Please prepare the paired pairs near the unprepared pairs near the pool. I forgot one of them paired in the beginning, but those are the tongue twisties for the day. Now my mouth is all warmed up. Pause. So now I can go ahead and shoot this pod or talk what I want to talk. So here we go. As you guys see, I got on my John Graham Holiday Classic shirt from 96. I'm dating myself to 96. But nah, this was this shirt was a t-shirt. This shirt has a lot of sentimental value to me, right? This shirt represented hope for me at a certain time, right? I just made the freshman basketball team. It's like the first team I made. First time ever making a basketball team was my freshman basketball team at Tacoma Academy. And it was a proud moment. I got my shoes, I got my team shoes, got my jersey, I got my warm-ups, had my home and away jersey. I remember we played in this tournament, and this tournament basically was a huge tournament, man, because our gym was a really big gym. A lot of the bigger schools in the area would come up and play because we had a gym where we had like a balcony. It was like a mini little stadium, man. It was a really big gym. And the John Graham tournament, it was a excuse me, teams came from all over, man, like Georgia, they came from like all over different countries, like, Michigan. Oh, I remember this joint. This is crazy. I remember, and the girls had the girls team was also in the tournament. But there was this one school, man. I forgot what school it was, but these chicks were all bad, man. They were tough, man. Yeah. But anyways, they were like all red. They were like red shorts, red whatever. And I remember like, yo, I need to hoop out. I need to hoop out to see if I can holler, and nothing happened, you know what I'm saying? But I just remember like getting all googly eyed over there's one chick on the other team. I forgot even where the school was even from, but whatever is what it is. But I remember our team played this team from Georgia and we got beat, and we shouldn't have lost to them because they were bums, but they played together. They were a collective group of bums that played well together, right? I mean, when I say bums, I mean bums. Like they had no ball handling skills. They were just like a little bigger. They were just more athletic. But they had poor ball handling skills. Like one guy I remember had to look at the ball while he dribbled the ball. Yeah, we shouldn't have lost to them. And I remember our coach, cussing us out because we lost. Anyways, I don't want to get on too much of a rant, but this shirt just has very, very sentimental value to me because this was around the holiday season when this tournament happened. We just finished final exams and school was out, and we were just hooping and living life, So anywho, that's that. So let me go ahead and move on because today's going to be a little long-winded episode, but we gonna plow through it because that's what we do over here in Tripping with Theo Boldland. So here we go. I forgot to do one more promo because this also kind of ties in with the episode. I think I may have plugged this before, but I'm gonna do it again. This is also brought to you by the book The Confidence Gap. Very, very good book. It breaks down what confidence is, what it isn't, and a lot of like the foundational framework of today's episode is built upon this because I'm just building skills. So as you guys, I didn't even talk about my background. So as you guys can see, I'm in this time warp kind of background. It kind of fits the theme. Time is ending or time is progressing. It's a race against the time. It kind of looks Miss Cleo-ish. Remember Miss Cleo? Dial 1-800-427-3535 for your free reading. That's what that shit look like. But nah, it's not that. Okay, anyway, that was corny. Let me go sit my ass up in this chair and get proper posture. So anyways, let's go ahead and talk about this episode, right? Night Owl. Hey, what's going on, Rashad? Hey, there he is. He said a documentary about Miss Cleo just came out on HBO. I'm gonna watch it, man. Thanks, man. Thanks for the information. I'm definitely gonna check it out, man. Because over the holidays I ain't gonna be doing shit. So I might as well go ahead and pop that in and learn something, right? But man, shout out again to the Night Owl, man. One of my longtime Peabody Hall floor mates, man, from back at the great Temple University. So yeah, man, thanks for tuning in. So what's going on here now? So let's go ahead. So today's episode, really, like I said, it's for me, but y'all can tune in and listen. This is the goals episode, right? Values and goals. So why am I doing this episode, right? I'm doing this episode because in the past, around this time of year, I always, got big grandiose plans for the next year. And I, have all these big visions and goals and things I want to do. And every year, like I'll write down, like one year, like I'll write down the shit, but I'll lose it. Like I remember like a few years ago, I had a notebook, wrote down all my goals in this notebook, lost a notebook before the end of the year, and didn't even know what the fuck I accomplished, Then after that, I said, you know what? I got to get high tech with it. Let me go ahead and go to the computer. So I went ahead and did it on my computer on a hard drive somewhere, lost that shit, And then I think I tried it on one of my little porno phones because, you know, like I said, I don't turn my phones in. I use my phones for porno phones, man. You know, because I don't look at porn on the internet. I don't look at porn like that anymore. But you know, but my porno phone, right? So I had my goals in there, and you know, lost track of that. And then last year I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and get a Google Doc started, right? Let me go ahead and get this Google Docs thing going. So I got a Google Drive, Google Docs folder going, had my goals in there, and then I got all these scattered goals and stuff all over the place. Lost my goals there. So I said, you know what? I said, this is what I'm gonna do, man. I said, this year, I'm gonna go ahead and announce my goals on my podcast. I'm gonna announce it on my podcast, so that way, whenever I'm at the half year mark in June or whatever it is, I can look at my goals and go back and watch this episode and be like, nigga, you bullshitting. Like, you bullshitting, right? That's what this is for, right? So this really is for me, but like I said, I'm gonna make it entertaining so we can all have a good laugh at it, and you know, one day come back and look at this and be like, Dre, remember when you made that goal about such and such? Man, you ain't do that, or maybe I did that shit. We don't know, right? But this is why we doing it. So let's talk about goals, right? So I know a lot of people. So me, I'm a very goal-oriented person. I don't really do New Year's resolutions. But I do a lot of, I'm a goal-oriented person. And all my life, I was like, man, I got to get this done. I got to get this. I got to accomplish that. I got to get this. I got to get that. I got to do this, right? And what I've noticed is, you know, or what I read from that book, The Confidence Gap, it's like you could accomplish all these different goals all over the place and still feel unsuccessful because you have no values, right? That's the key. You got to have values. Like why are you doing what you're doing? Right? You got people that are like conquering. Like, look, like I'm not saying this is true or not, but just like, what if Elon Musk had no values, right? And he just was just good at, like, you know, getting goals and, like, you know, reaching and accomplishing goals. It would be crazy if he felt unsuccessful and this motherfucker done changed the auto industry. He done, you know, like done a lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'm a fan of his or whatever. I'm just saying in general, like a lot of people, you know, I think we get caught up in goals and we don't really focus on value. So the book, The Confidence Gap, helped me out with that, you know? So basically in the book, the way they break it down is values are like a compass, right? It's like a direction. It tells you like what direction you're heading. And your goals are steps along the way. So no matter how small your goals are along the step of one of your values, no matter how small the goal is that you get done, that's instant success, right? And you know that you're working towards something, right? So values don't have a destination. You know, values are just a direction, where goals are direction, right? So you can keep making new goals along the same values, right? So yeah, so I did the work. I read the book, and it's a pretty lengthy process, but yeah. So I basically narrowed down I think I did this like back in May or June, but so here are my values, right? My values are authenticity, creativity, independence, mindfulness, and perseverance. Like those are the values that mean the most to me, right? And it's in the book that you go through all these different like types of like, you know, potential values, but you have to like narrow them down to like 5, right? So authenticity, like, you know, creativity, independence, mindfulness, and perseverance. I'm not going to really get into the why of all those, but I did the research, I did the work. Those are the things that mean the most to me. So with that being said, I'm going to go through different areas of my life or things I want to accomplish. And I'm going to list my goals, you know, and also one other thing too, right, is for every like category, there are long-term goals, or I'm going to try to do one for each, right? So a long-term goal, a medium-term goal, and a short-term goal, right? So a long-term goal is something that takes a year to years to accomplish, right? So minimum of a year, maximum years, right? So let's say 1 to 5 years. Medium term goals are things that take months to a year to complete, right? So anywhere from, I would say, 2 months to a year is a middle term goal. And then a short term goal is anything that takes up to a month to achieve, right? So short term is anywhere from a week to 1 month, right? We're just kind of giving a loose frame of all that, right? So for everything I have here, I'm going to list a long-term goal, a medium-term goal, and a short-term goal. And when I come back and watch this documentary in June, all this shit gonna be done. Like it's like not all gonna be done. But you know, at least I'll be able to say, you know what? Am I bullshitting or not? Maybe that might be an episode, right? In June is gonna be, maybe that's a title for an episode. Like, Dre, is you bullshitting or what? All right, I don't know. I'm just coming up with ideas. But here we go. So first thing, as you guys know, I'm a stand-up comedian. So let's start with that. So stand-up goals, right? So long-term goal, 1 year to 5 years out, is I want to produce and shop a special, comedy special, right? I gotta, that's one thing I want to do, right? In the past, I remember when people were like doing albums, you know, when I was coming up, people put out albums to burn their material out or whatever, you know, but now I think the social media era has kind of changed all that, where people want to see the visual with the audio or the verbal, right? So long-term goal is to produce and shop a special. Now, how does that fit in with my values? Well, one, I'm trying to eat off that shit, you know, I'm trying to like be in, so that fits into independence, right? Like, I'm not trying to go through to audition, to have no major network film and shop my shit and then take 80% of the winnings, or to take 80% of the profit. I'm trying to, like, you know, I'm gonna get my own film crew team. I want to get, I'm gonna write and produce my own shit. I'm gonna, you know, have my own sound team, my own video people, and I want to have a vision for this, man. Like, I want to be able to see the end product, and then once I get it canned, then I want to go and start shopping it, you know. So if you notice, I didn't say like, I'll get into that later, but that's the goal. That's the long-term goal with stand-up comedy. Okay, that's my 1 to 5 year goal. Then middle or medium-term goal, you know, something that's going to take 2 months to a year, is I have two goals, right? One goal is I want to get booked to work cruises, right? So why do I want to get booked to work cruises? Well, because if you work a cruise or a cruise line, you got to have multiple sets. You got to have multiple 30-minute sets. And then on top of that, you know, I'm going to get the reps in, right? So that aligns with perseverance, you know, to be able to get up night after night and do 30 minutes, a different 30 minutes, you know? And then also I get to work on my creativity, because now when you do a 30-minute set, I can always work in a new joke in the middle of my set and then build on that, right? So think about it, right? If you do a 30-minute set, you know, like 2 times a night, like 3 nights a week, and then you put a new minute in every 30 minutes, and you work that one little minute in the middle, and that little minute becomes strong over repetition. If you keep doing that and repeating that process, you'll have a new 30 minutes, like after like 40 times of getting up, right? So, you know, it's a win-win. So that's one of the medium-term goals. And then also I want to get past at the Laugh Factory. You know, Laugh Factory is a big, you know, comedy club chain. I go to the one at the Hollywood location a lot, but they have one in San Diego, one in Long Beach. They have one in Chicago, they have one in Vegas. But I want to get past that, the Laugh Factory, so I'm in the rotation for all them clubs. Like, that would be dope to just be like, you know what, every year, you know, I can get up and do a weekend, you know, at all them clubs in 1 year. That would be dope. you know. So that fits in the independence because then I'll be making money, and then also perseverance because I know. So basically, it's a long, grueling process. I'm at the beginning of the process. There's a mic you have to go to where the bookers are at, and you have to like. I'm not going to tell you the whole full process, but basically, there's a mic you have to go to with all the bookers, and they want to see you do clean comedy at first. So you got to get past doing clean comedy. And then once you get past doing clean comedy, then they'll come back and let you do your real thing. And then you could be, and I've seen this happen to a few people, but you can get up there and just murder and just every week, new material coming back, getting called back, and then they never book you, right? So a lot of people are talented, they're funny, they have new shit every week, but they let that process fuck with them. They let that process get in their head, and then you see like them kind of break down and kind of lose who they are. So like my goal, like I said, is to maybe something more attainable, right? Maybe, getting booked is not attainable because I don't have control over it. I have some control over it, but really it's all in the hands of the bookers, right? But my goal is to every month at least go to this audition mic at least once a month, and just get up there and not have the process affect me visually, right? My goal is to persevere through that whole process, like you gotta be with the shit, you gotta be with the bullshit, right? Like you gotta be able to, there's gonna be times when you get up there and all the comics know that you're the funniest dude in the room, and there's some people that don't get one laugh, but they get passed and you don't, or they get invited back and you don't. You got to go up to them and be like, "Hey man, great job, man. Man, you did it, man. You killed that shit tonight, man. Man, great job, man." And then when the bookers come around and be like, "Hey man, you guys picked the right, like you gotta drink the Kool-Aid and show these motherfuckers that, hey, you get the game, or if they ask you, "Hey, what do you think about so-and-so?" Said, "Oh man, they're amazing," knowing that you done killed the shit, and they should have picked you, but you don't, but you can't get bitter about it, right? You just got to smile and give them a dose of their bullshit, right? That's how that shit works. So that's the goal, right? Every week, not every week, at least once a month, go to that audition mic, smile, do your material, eat shit, and just don't let the process affect you, or don't let the process show that it's having an effect on you. And then also I have a big audition coming up in February. It's my Chocolate Sundays grad spot date. So let me get some of this water right quick. Now I got this grad spot date coming up. So that's associated with the Laugh Factory, but just because you get on the main show there doesn't mean that you're passed at the Laugh Factory. I know a lot of funny people on Chocolate Sundays that are not passed at the Laugh Factory. And I think it's because they don't go through that grueling phase of the bullshit. So I'm going to go through the bullshit. But just to give you guys an idea of how competitive this Chocolate Sundays show is, I've been at this shit since 2011, right? So in 2011, I was still living in Iowa. I signed up for First Impressions, which is how they did it before. You had to do your First Impressions show. You have to basically go on the main show. You get 3 minutes. And if you were good, you get called back. If not, you don't. So in 2011, I signed up for the joint. In 2013, August of 2013. So I luckily moved out to California by 2013, because if I didn't, I would have gotten bumped and I would have had to have booked another date, like, I don't know, years in advance. So I luckily moved out there by 2013. I got bumped, came back the following week. I got good laughs. I thought I did well, but I didn't follow up with anybody. and then that kind of just fell through the cracks. And then management changed, new comics came into town or whatever, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, man, so and so books that, man. Just go ahead and here's the email and go sign up or whatever." So I signed up again, and I got a date for, at the time, I think this was around like 2017 or 2018. I got a date for May of 2023. So I said, okay, cool, whatever. Signed up for it. Then the pandemic happened. Then they had a virtual comedy show contest through Chocolate Sundays. I advanced, and then I didn't make it past the second round, but they saw my date and they were like, nah, he's funny. Go ahead and bump him up. I guess that's what they said. But they bumped up my date from May of 23 to December of 21, which was last year. I did first impressions live at the live show last year, and I got a date for my grad spot in February. So I get 5 minutes on the main show or the 9 o'clock show. So I got to bring it. So long story short, if I do well on this show, there's a potential I could get put in the main rotation for the Chocolate Sundays show rotation. But it's also a good first step to at least say, hey, look, I'm getting booked at Chocolate Sundays main show. You know, maybe this is a first step or a good first step for getting booked at the Laugh Factory or the Laugh Factories, right? So that's that. So yeah, so those are my medium term goals for stand-up comedy. And I guess a good short-term goal for me right now, something that would take a week to weeks or to a month, would be to make contact with a cruise agency, you know, just to, I think because I heard from a few comedians what the process is. They say you got to have a 30-minute clean set and 2 30-minute U sets, right? Either adult, they say adult sets, but 2 30-minute adult sets. So that's like 90 minutes total. And then I think they just give you an audition, and then if you make it, then they'll start booking you or whatever. But I think the first step is to find a cruise agent, you know what I'm saying, in that industry, and then just kind of see what they tell me to make sure it's consistent, and then give them what I got. And then they'll be like, okay, well, we like your adult stuff, but you have no clean, work on your clean, you know? So that's that. So comedy section, stand-up comedy section is done. Let's go on to acting, right? So long-term goal for acting is to book or star in a recurring role or a series. Like I said, this is a year to 5 years. So this past year, when it came to acting, what have I done? I have I took a on-camera acting class, made connections with people in the industry, made connections with a director. So I'm pretty sure that he's gonna have, you know, avenues for me to kind of, if I show growth and potential, he'll probably have films that he might want me to go and audition for or to submit for. So yeah, so the goal is long term is to book a guest star or a recurring role in a series. Yeah, I want to see my ass in a Netflix special, or not a special, but a Netflix series. You know, I want to see my ass up on there. It can be something small, little small. Like I don't have to be a superstar. All I want to do is just get like a little role where I pop, or to where like I pop in, and people are like, "Yo, that's Dre." Like, so and that kind of happened a few nights ago. I was watching this movie with my old lady. What movie were we watching? We were watching it's a good movie. I guess I got to finish it. But we watched it late the other night, and R.I.P. to Ricardo Flanagan, man. I did a comedy show with this dude. I think he was in Shameless. He was in Shameless for a couple episodes. But he was in this movie, and I did a show with him a month or maybe like 2 or 3 months before he passed. But we did a show at this venue in North Hollywood, and I didn't even know him at the time. But man, that dude was funny, man. And then afterwards, he was like, "Yo, man, funny shit, man. Keep working." We linked up on social media, and then I'm watching this movie last night with my old lady, and she was at the comedy show. and he just popped in like he was one of the extras, not extras, but like he was I think it's like a guest role or like a guest star. And I was like, yo, Ricardo's in this shit. Oh shit. And I got a little misty eyed, man. Like, yo, he not here no more, man. But it's like he lived his dream, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, he basically like kind of like planted a seed that showed me, hey, if you work and if you put the work and the effort in, you know, you can do that as well too, you know? So that's what I'm doing. You know, I'm gonna try to go get it. Fuck trying to go get it. I'm gonna go get it. You know, that's how we gonna do it, you know? But I want to like book those like weird side roles where it's like, you know, 'cause I don't want to do no weird role shit, but I want to like book some shit where it's like, you know, it fits my character, it fits who I am. That's the biggest thing with me in acting is I don't want to watch something with me, you know, 20 years later and be like, man, why did I do this shit? You know, this shit is not me. Like, you know, this is not a good representation of who I am as an individual or my values, right? So that's my long-term goal. Medium-term goal is I want to, you know what? I haven't been on any auditions. I've done all this legwork. I've done all this. I've done all these classes. I know how to break down the script. I know how to learn lines. I know all that shit. But now we gonna put it to work, right? So next year, my goal is to go out on 3 commercial auditions, you know, because if you get a commercial audition, you know, you get bread, you get money from that, and that helps with the independence value. And then I want to book 3, or I want to go on 3 acting auditions. So to be fair, I know to go to in-person auditions, like that's a big deal, or it's a big task. It's a tall order task. But I want to do 2 on-camera acting auditions, at least 1 in-person one. That's my middle term goal for 2022. End of 2022, total of 6 auditions, 3 commercial auditions, you know, 2 on-camera auditions, 1 in-person audition. That's the goal for next year. That's the middle term goal, because if I do those, because the way I look at it is, if I do those 3 things, you know, maybe there's a shot that I get booked for something, you know? And if I don't, then next year, hey, at least I learned the process of how to go about getting auditions. And then next year, we'll double it up. You know, we'll try to do 6 auditions, you know, 6 for each, you know? And then every year we'll just keep doubling, you know, because, you know, that's the name of the game. You got to put yourself out there. Hey, what's up, TT? Hey, thanks, babe. Appreciate you. Before we go any further, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tell a friend to tell a friend, do all that internet stuff. But what else we got going on? So did I do, yeah, so the short-term goals for acting, gotta think about that. I don't know what I should be doing within the next month, but I'll figure that out. But right now, I got my goal for 2022 for acting, and I'm holding myself accountable. So next area is writing, right? So long-term goal for writing is which is my 1 to 5 year goal, is I want to write and shop a pilot and or movie, right? So when I say write, I want to have it written, proofread, edited, printed out, and I want this thing to be ready to go. You know, I want to be able to go to a meeting and be able to pitch this, right? That's a whole other category. You got to be able to pitch this, right? So that's my long-term goal with writing. And where does that fit in with my values? It fits in with authenticity, creativity, independence. Because if I can pitch this and sell it, you know, then I get bread. I can live off that, you know, and perseverance, because this is a long, grueling process. So my medium-term goal for writing, I guess, would be to have a solid log line for a pilot and a movie by the end of the year. All right, like I've already started kind of playing around with log lines and everything, but I gotta have something where I'm like, you know what, this is what I'm gonna hang my hat on. This is the sword I'm gonna fall on, because you got to commit. Because one thing I've learned about coming up with log lines in the past is it's like it's easy to think you have something, but then all you really done is you just basically remix another show, you know, or you know, you have one idea that you're like 90% cool on, then you have like 5 others, and then when you start to outline for that one log line, then you start losing confidence in it. Then you start to look for the other ones, or it's a very challenging process. So end of the year is to have, you know, a solid log line and a pilot, you know, or sorry, a solid log line for a pilot and a movie. That's the goal for end of next year. Then let's look at this podcast, right? Look at where this podcast has come. Look at how far it has come, man. Look at how far this thing has come. I remember when I used to gotta do a mix up. I gotta do a mashup episode of my old podcast, man. But this podcast started with no name, no format, no title, and one of them little bullshit conference circle mics. And it's bad, man. Like if you go back and listen to those things, man, it sounds like I'm at a Burger King restaurant trying to order food and shit doing this pod. This shit was terrible. But humble beginnings, right? We got to start somewhere. But I got to do a mashup episode of that. That would be funny just to go back and see where this podcast came from. And before, you know, all y'all saw was my bedroom and shit. But now look at us. We in the universe floating around, you know? Yeah, 60 subs. There we go. Hey, humble beginnings. And we have a long way to go. But nah, this pod, man, like I remember this pod had no name, no nothing. Then I came up with the name for it. Then the name kind of was like, I liked the name, it was catchy. Then I believed in the name enough to actually hire someone to do the podcast art. We got podcast artwork. And now look at, and then we got the font. See the font down here? Boom, look at that. See that creative font right there with the P tripping over the W? It's like, yeah, so that all happened this past year. And then shout out to Mark Lotus, who did my intro. He did my intro and my outro, gave me some options. So that was actually a goal of mine. I had like for like years out, maybe a year or two out, but he just jumped in and boom, look at that. That just came in, and you know, I have a jingle for my pod now, you know, so this thing is still growing. But let's go ahead and get to the long-term goals, right? So the long-term goal for this is 1 to 5 years from now. I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there. I'm going to eat off this shit. The goal is to eat off of this, right? The goal is to eat and to feed off of this 1 to 5 years from now, right? I want to be able to be like, hey, you know, I paid all my bills with this podcast. And not only did I pay my bills, but I'm able to live my lifestyle the way I'm living it now off of this podcast. You know, that's the goal, man. Is to eat off of this. You know, of course, while I bring you guys, you know, exclusive content, but it's to eat off of this, man. Right? Independence. That's my long-term goal. I want to eat off of this. So my medium-term goal for this, like something I got to do by the end of 2020, by the end of 2023, which is coming up, is I want to create a system to promote this podcast consistently, right? Like it's easy to chop up a video and well, it's not easy, but anyone can chop up a video and make a little remix to the joint and post it on social media once a week for like a couple weeks. But I'm trying to do this shit consistently, man, for like week to week. I want to have like just chop ups, and I'm posting this stuff like on all social media platforms, all of them. You know, Twitch, YouTube Shorts, what else? Instagram, TikTok. I want like this. I want all this to just. I want this to be promoted. I want people to be like, yo, what is this tripping with Theo Bolt? Like it keeps popping up in my feed. What is this? Let me see what this dude is talking about. You know, so that's a medium term goal. Also, another medium term goal I have for this. Actually, I should probably be working on this. Well, medium term goal. Let me not get ahead of myself. Another medium term goal for this podcast is to create a what's the word I'm looking for? A channel trailer, right? A YouTube channel trailer. So when people come to this channel, they'll know exactly what it is they're getting, right? I feel like right now I kind of have a loose form of what I'm giving them, but I want to make sure that they know what they're getting when they come to this channel. So that's another medium term goal for the end of 2022. I want to have a channel trailer for this YouTube for this podcast. So a short term goal, something I can do before or something I can do within 4 weeks, is brainstorm and come up with, you know, what type of channel trailer am I going to do? You know, is it going to be me talking? There's probably going to be like my theme, my actual jingle in the background playing. You know, but am I going to do chop ups of all my other videos? Is it going to be me talking over my chop ups? Like I have to like kind of figure all that out. But that's my short term goal, is to kind of brainstorm and come up with what style of YouTube channel trailer am I going to shoot? All right. And then something else I want to do too, something else I really want to get to is I want to get away from, so I'm kind of telling you guys my process, but I want to get away from iMovie, right? So what I do is this, right, is I shoot my pod, it's live, it goes directly to YouTube and Twitch. But then what I do is I then also record this, and then I take the recording and I put it in iMovie, then I play with the audio in iMovie, and then I export the audio and I put that into Spotify. And the audio quality isn't bad. It's just the volume is not what I wanted. Like it doesn't have that booming effect. Like whenever like you're in a car, you know, maybe I have to change up my hardware or do something different. But when I'm in the car, I want my voice to boom in your skull, right? I want this shit to be full. And right now it's not the audio is not quite what I want it to be. So maybe that's a medium term goal too. So boom, I got 3 things. That's a lot. All right, so let's go ahead and get to, so these I'm gonna kind of breeze through these because these are like, you know, other small things. Financial goals are none of your damn business. Sorry. Yeah, financial goals, that's for me. I don't want y'all knowing how much money I have or don't have, so just know that I'm taking care of that on the side, and you know, I'm gonna figure that shit out. But anyways, fitness goals, right? So fitness goals, long-term goal, 1 to 5 years, I'm trying to be back at my college weight, right? Because I ain't grown no more. I'm done growing. So a lot of y'all probably know I'm short. So I ain't trying to be no short, fat motherfucker. So I'm trying to be, if I'm gonna be little, I'm gonna be little, damn it. You know? So my goal is to get back to my college weight. Right now I'm like around $185-ish maybe. But I gotta get back down. I'm trying to get back down to I'm trying to get back down between 150 and 160. Like that's where I'm trying to be at, 1 to 5 years. And I want to be like double strength, right? I want to be stronger than what I was in college, right? So like just some numbers to kind of play around with is I want to be in between 150 and 160, and I want to be able to bench 300 pounds, right? 300, right? Double my weight. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Get up off me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's the goal 1 to 5 years from now. So right now I can decline bench 245 probably like 2 or maybe like 4 or 5 times. But all the different benches, right? I want to be able to do like 300 decline. Yeah, aiming for that sexy weight. Yeah, you got it. Boom. Trying to I'm trying to get that I'm trying to get 300 on the decline, incline, and flat bench, right? Incline gonna be a challenge because I got a fucked up shoulder, but decline, I'm already like at 245 decline. And then flat bench, that's the joint where, like, you know, back when I was in college, when I played football, I think I could rep 245 like twice. But yeah, trying to make sure I can keep motherfuckers off me. You know what I'm saying? And then my medium term goal, which is the goal for the end of next year, is to I'm doing this program. It's called the V-Taper workout, and that's what I did before the pandemic, you know, and it's a good way to maintain my shape or whatever and stuff. So I'm actually about to complete it by the middle of next week, but it's a 12-week program, 4 days. So goal is to probably just run through that program 4 times next year. Cause right, like 12 weeks is what, 3 months. So 3 months, occurs 4 times in a year. So that's the goal, to just kind of run through that 4 times, you know, and see where I'm at, reevaluate. Let me get some more water. Before I go any further, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tell a friend to tell a friend, do all that fun internet stuff like the old people say. This water, this looks like the beam me up Scotty shit right now. See that cup? Like beam me up, Scott. Look, it's like Scotty beaming up my cup right now. Technology for your ass. What else we got? DFS goals. Let's talk about some daily fantasy sport goals. So DFS goals. Let me see. DFS goals. Long term, 1 to 5 years. DFS. I'm trying to have the next 5 years in a bag. All right, that's where I'm trying to be at with DFS. So, for example, in 2027, I'm trying to have 2032 already in the bag, taken care of. I'm good through 2032. That's how I'm thinking. Right? I'm trying to have 2032 in the bag. Right? So let me say that again. 5 years from now, which will be 2027, right? Or 2028. 2028, I'm trying to have 2033 and 2032 locked away in the bag. That's the long-term goal for DFS. All right. And I'll figure something out because I always do. All right. But medium-term goal, you know, something that I can accomplish in one year or by the end of 2023 is, and by the way, 2023 is my golden year, right? Because my birthday, come on, Dre, I almost didn't get that out. 2023 is my golden year, right? Because as y'all know, my birthday is January 23rd. So a golden birthday is when you turn 20. A golden birthday is when you turn your age the same age as your birthday, right? I'm not going to turn 23. Maybe I am, but I mean, I'm not. But 2023 is going to be my year, you know, 23. It got a ring to it. That's my birthday, January 23rd. So 2023 is going to be my year. That's how I'm talking. You got to speak shit into existence. But anyways, DFS, a medium-term goal is for the end of 2023. My goal is to win at least one tournament that has at least one comma in it. Okay, so for all you geniuses out there, that means that, you know, I play a tournament and at a minimum, I win $1,000, right? Because 1,000 has a comma in it, right? But if you notice the language I used, I said at least one tourney with at least one comma in it. So sky's the limit. All right, that's my goal for DFS. My medium-term goal. Short-term goal, something I can do by today is I want to, by the end of the day, I'm trying to win a couple $100, but we'll see how that works. Already got my lineup in for hoops for tonight, 4:00 p.m. So we'll see how that works out. I'm actually gonna break down some stuff that I found. I'm actually gonna break down some findings to help, you DFS enthusiasts, out, so you guys can stop giving your money away. But what else do we got here? But that's it for DFS. That's it for DFS. Now I had a crazy DFS goal last year. One of my goals was to do so well at DraftKings that DraftKings hits me up and they're like, "Yo, Dre, hey, we want you to do some marketing for us." But the more I thought about it, I'm like, that's not a good idea, because I actually met a few people who worked for DraftKings when I was in Orange County. And a lot of y'all like, "Well, how do you know they work for DraftKings? They could have just been lying to you." Nah, these motherfuckers work for DraftKings because the conversation was very cult, not cult like, but they said certain things to let me know that, oh, these dudes really work for DraftKings, right? So for example, like they kind of reminded me of like Mormons, right? Like they were just real simple people. I'm at the bar and I'm playing, or like I'm watching the game, and I was like, "Yo, I gotta check my lineup." And they were like, "Oh, you play DraftKings?" But before they even told me that, they said they're from Massachusetts, where DraftKings is actually headquartered at. And we got to talking, and they were telling me some details that I'm like, "Oh, that shit line up." Like for example, certain contests, if you pay attention to when they put out the lineups or the contests, they come out at different times because people get off at different hours, right? So on Fridays, people leave early. So when people leave early, that's why certain contests aren't released until a certain time. So they were going to all the details on that. And then they even said, that they're not allowed to play DraftKings. Like they said they're not allowed, like they're already employed by them. So if you're employed by DraftKings, you cannot play, because if you play and you win, they can either like file like a lawsuit against you or take you to court, and you don't own that money. So that lets me know that there's a little trick. There's some secret sauce in daily fantasy sports that it's like, once you learn the trick, it's like, yeah, now you can't play no more, because now you gon' you gonna steal the pot, or you're just gonna take the money away, right? So that's why I don't want, like, I kind of recanted, or don't want to work for DraftKings or do any collaborations with DraftKings or any other DFS site, because once you collab with them, now it's like, yeah, you're getting income from them, but now you work for them. And I'm not trying to work for nobody. Like, I'm trying to be the Han Solo of this shit. Like, I'm a mercenary. I come in, I do what I do, and I leave. You can't control me. Fuck a 9 to 5. I'm not trying to get locked into that shit. That comfort money shit is not where it's at, yo. Nah, I'm not messing with that. But anyways, that's it for DraftKings. Now let's get into some other I got some weirdo goals, right? So reading. So long-term goal, 1 to 5 years. I'm trying to read 600 words per minute with full comprehension. Reading was always a problem for me. I used to read, like when I was in school. Let me go ahead and just tell y'all this right quick. I don't think y'all know this, but I'm gonna tell y'all two things for the price of one. Or I'm just gonna tell y'all two things. So when I was in, where was it? I think when I was in 8th grade, I had a 4th grade reading level. I was like that far behind in reading. 4th grade, I read at a 4th grade level, but my math was like past college, or it was like college level or college graduate level. It was like my math was always beyond the charts. Like my math was always like way beyond the charts. Like, because I looked at math like a game, as like a puzzle. Like I'm pretty good with numbers, So I was like in 8th grade. I remember I did them little bullshit standardized tests, and they said you read at a 4th grade level, but your math is like, you don't even need to be doing math right now. That's where they were at. My math, they were like, your math, you don't even need to really fuck with math. That's basically what the results said. But to also kind of back that up, I did when I was in high school, when I was doing my when I was getting ready for my SATs, and this is also going to show you guys how old I am. But when the time I took SATs, they said if you attempt a question and get it wrong, you get negative a quarter of a point, I think it was, or like a negative, like you get like a negative. It's either negative 1/5. It's either negative 1/5 of a point or negative 1/4 of a point. But if you don't attempt it, you get negative 0 points. Right? So they changed it up because of motherfuckers like me, right? So when I did this Kaplan course, when I was in high school, and I remember I was doing the class, and the instructor like would teach you kind of like he would teach you how to approach the test, give you drills, and then retest you. And I remember when it came to reading comprehension, I was struggling, or it wasn't even reading comprehension. It was critical reading, right? Because critical reading is not reading comprehension. That's a whole, like, no one ever taught us how to critically read. Like, critical reading is a whole nother like skill set. But I was barely able to do like reading comprehension. So I was getting everything wrong, like in critical reading. Like I could not get one question right in critical reading. And my instructor, he literally told me, he's like, dude, you're not getting critical reading. He's like, yo, your math is so strong. If I were you, when you do your SATs, I would just skip the whole reading section. I would just skip it, like, because it's going to hurt you. Because if you're getting them all wrong, you're going to be losing fractions of a point. And if you don't do it, you won't lose it. I mean, you won't gain any points, but you also won't lose any points. So I remember when I did the SATs, I'm in the testing area or whatever. And when they said it's time to do critical reading, I would just close my book and sit back just like this. And the proctor for the exam, she'd be like, "Are you done already?" I'm like, "Nah." "And you're not gonna do the critical?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm good." And I just sat there, and she was looking at me like, "Why aren't you gonna try?" I'm like, "Because I didn't already took the classes. I know what to do and what not to do. I'm just following instructions." And when I did my SATs, I think what was my final score? I think my SATs were like, I either got like 1050 or like 1100 on my SATs, and I skipped critical reading. I didn't do one critical reading question, right? So that's like, that just shows you, like, I'm not trying to brag about my math skills and I'm like that, but I'm just saying that's how much of a disparity between reading and math there was with me, right? So now I'm working on my reading, right? So I took a reading course at the beginning of 2022. Right now I'm like at 380 words with somewhat full comprehension, but long term I want to be 600 words per minute full comprehension. And my middle term goal by the end of the year, I'm trying to be 400 words per minute full comprehension. Right now I'm probably like around 350-ish, I'm about like 350-ish. And one of the things I had to learn how to do in my reading course that I'm doing is I had to learn how to juggle, right? Because they said if you learn how to juggle, it basically enhances the white matter in your brain. I don't even know what the fuck that means, but they said it helps out the white matter in your brain because you're like, you're able to, I don't know. I'm just doing it because they say to do the shit. So right now I can juggle 3 balls, I can juggle 3 balls like 4 times in a row, right? So I can do boop, 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 right? I can do 1, 2, 3, 4 with 3 balls, right? I can do that. I'm trying to get to 10 where I'm just doing it like this, But one thing I learned about reading is a lot of times too, one of the major things I learned with reading through doing this course I did through, in the beginning of the year, is I learned that the reason why I was such a poor reader was because I didn't ask any questions, right? Like if you're not trying to find something out, then you're not gonna find nothing out. Questions are the answers. Questions are the answers. So I all along, the way I thought reading worked is you just read the shit and it just stuck to your brain. But nah, it's like you gotta ask questions, and then and I think the goal number of questions to ask is maybe anywhere from like 5 to 9 questions. But anytime you, excuse me, anytime, Albert said, slow down with the balls. What's up, Poku? Nah, but the one thing I learned with like reading is you gotta ask questions, yo. If you sit down, if you pick anything up and you start reading it, and if you don't have any questions that you're trying to have answered, you are wasting your time reading. Your best bet is to put the shit down and think of some questions to ask so you can actually go find something, right? So so that's the goal, right? So the goal, like I said, is to long-term goal, 600 words per minute, full comprehension. Right now I'm at like 350-ish, right? End of the year I'm trying to be at 400. So boom, that's it for reading. Social media goals, right? Here we go. So long-term social media goals, 1 to 5 years is I want to create a system to post on all social media platforms daily, right? Like I suck at social media. Like it's weird. It's like you got to do it, but then it's like this weird trap where, you know, you want things to look a certain way, then you put it out there, and then like you have this whole Kris Kringle effect, right? When I say Kris Kringle, you guys know Kris Kringle is Santa Claus. In my household, we play this game called Kris Kringle, where you put a slipper out, and you know, by the end of the day, Santa Claus or Kris Kringle would come in and drop a little gift to whet your appetite for Christmas. You know what I'm saying? But I used to put the slipper out, and I would try to wash the slipper. You know, it's like trying to watch water boil, right? Like if you watch a pot of water boil, it take forever, you know? That's how you got to be with the social media shit. Like you can't put it out there and then watch the shit and try to hope that you get followers all of a sudden off of one post. Like I think the great social media people, they put shit out there and they forget they even put it out there, right? So that's my goal, is to get to the point where I'm just putting shit out there and it's out there, and then it's like, oh damn, this shit got 5 million views. I didn't even know this shit even. I forgot I even posted that shit. That's where I want to be like 1 to 5 years from now. I want to be able to be just putting out shit like it's nothing. Medium term goal for social media is to, I got to get back. You know what? I got to get back to my sketches, man. I went back to my sketch. Like I had a lot of, like, during the pandemic, I think I did like 1 sketch a week or something like that. I gotta sneeze. Shit, I hate when I gotta sneeze. No, I'm good. But during the pandemic, man, I made like 1 sketch a week, and I went back and I watched my sketches on Instagram, and I was like, man, these sketches weren't that bad, man. These sketches were pretty good. Shit. So, I got to get back to that, man. I got to get back to my sketches, you know. What do those views do for you? Well, if you're in the entertainment industry, okay, so Albert asked, what do those views do for you? Those views are potential, right? Basically, there's potential to monetize off of that, right? So yeah, views alone don't do anything, right? But if you're in the comedy game like me, and you go to a booker, and not only do they see that you're funny and that you got material, but if they see that you have a big social media following or you get a lot of views on stuff, they'll book you, or they're more likely to book you, because what that translates to is they'll say, oh, he can put butts in seats, you know? Right now, you have a lot of social media people with views that don't have comedy, like they ain't funny, you know? Like, and it's not me hating, but if I haven't seen you on stage, or if I haven't seen you out hitting these mics up trying to like work on your craft, but you put a video out and you get 1 million views, and you get to go and put together a tour where you go and set, and like, you know, and you get to go and pack out arenas, them motherfuckers can't do that shit themselves, because they're gonna call people like me up to go open up for them because they don't got no material, or they'll call people up like me to close for them, right? Because I've heard stories where you have social media stars, TikTok stars I've never even heard of before, and they'll get views and they have like millions of subs and all this shit. And they'll put together a tour where they're going around, but then they got to book real comedians, real stand-up comedians to actually go and close out the show because them niggas is garbage. You know, like they ain't got no, like they don't, I mean, I'm not trying to say that they're not talented, but to do stand-up comedy, man, this shit is a craft, yo. Like you got to go through like the failures, man. Like you can't, there's some people that, you know, can hop in and just go and figure it out, but you got to do that legwork, man. And to never even touch a stage, to all of a sudden you gonna get on the stage and go tell jokes, nah. But anyways, that's what the views do for you, right? Views are potential. So excuse me. So yeah, so with the sketches though, I got to get back to my sketches though, man, because I like the sketches I made back in the day, you know, like the ones I made over the pandemic. Like I looked at them, I'm like, man, these are pretty creative sketches, you know. So the goal is to do one sketch a week and then post it on all social media platforms. Like in the past, I had this grandiose idea of, hey, I'm gonna figure out the algorithm for each social media platform and then do a sketch that's catered to that. Nah, I'm just gonna do my one sketch. I'll chop it up. I'll make sure it fits the format for whatever platform it needs to be on. And exactly. You do it for the love. Exactly. Do it for the love. So it doesn't matter who. Exactly, Albert. You are 100% right, man. You are 100% right. I couldn't have said it better myself, man. That's exactly what you got to do. You got to do it for the love, man. You know, and like I said, I went back and I watched my old sketches and I'm like, man, that shit, I made myself laugh watching that shit. I'm like, man, I forgot I made that sketch, you know? So yeah, do it for you. Do it for the love. But the goal is to, next year, like medium term goal is to do one sketch a week on all social media platforms. And just put it out there, you know? So a short-term goal that I can do now before the end of the month is I can brainstorm, and I kind of already started doing it, right? Like my approach is going to be, I'm going to do sketches that are centric to a certain theme, right? So I'm not just going to do random sketches, right? Because that's the one thing I learned about doing sketches is that if you do a random sketch, it's like if you do a sketch that's a funny idea, like you have to make sure that you find the funny in it and you film it right. But then to search for the next thing, it's extra work, right? So those are like random outlier sketches, right? But I'm going to have theme sketches, right? Like, you know, this podcast is called Tripping with Theo Bold. And one of the main reasons why it's called Tripping with Theo Bold is because I grew up with a speech impediment. It's not all the way gone, you know, so I'm going to do sketches that are stutter centric. I'm going to do sketches that basically open the minds or expose people to a different world that they have no idea even existed, right? So I'm going to do, the goal is to do like 10, see, let's do the math, right? There's 54-ish weeks in the year. So there's 54 weeks in the year. If I do 5 topics, then I can do 10 on each topic, right? So we can do 10 stutter-centric sketches, 10 on DFS, daily fantasy sports. We can do 10 on Buffalo Bills or being a Bills fan. We can do 10 on engineering and then 10 random, right? That's kind of like how I'm thinking about it, right? But you got to write them out. So that's the first thing I can do with the upcoming weeks is to write out those sketches, you know, or to start the framework for those sketches for the upcoming year. Scriptural, right? Let's get to the scriptural shit. There's a lot of shit I'm trying to accomplish, right? But it is what it is. That's why we are putting it out here. That's why we are putting this into the universe. So come mid next year, I can look at this video and be like, man, Dre, is you bullshitting or is you getting this shit done? You know? So scriptural, long-term goal for scriptural, like 1 to 5 years. In 1 to 5 years, I want to complete all the Holy Scriptures, and I want to complete the Quran at least once, right? So when I say all Holy Scriptures, I don't just mean the Torah. I just don't mean the 66 books that are in the traditional scriptures. I mean the apocryphal books, or the books that are hidden, right? So right now, I kind of started this thing where I have I got the Audible app, and I found the Apocrypha or the apocryphal books on Audible. I got the 66 scriptures, Holy Scriptures, or the 66 books. And I got the Quran on there, right? So right now, I have like 60 hours left of the original 66, not the original. I have 60 hours left of the 66 books that are in the traditional scriptures. And right now, I'm on the book of 1 Samuel. So I've learned a couple things I didn't realize. I didn't realize that, Ruth comes before 1 Samuel. If you put that Albert, you a goddamn fool, man. I can't fuck with you, Al. Albert said, I gotta read this, man. Al said, if you put that chicken suit on, you'll get a lot of views. So let me break that down for y'all, man. So back when I was in Orange County, Albert, Eric, Aaron, and I forgot who else came, but it was like those, they all came out to visit California from the East Coast. And I had a comedy show in Orange County that night over at the Amazing Comedy Theater in Huntington Beach. And I told the guys, look, man, I got a show. If y'all want to come. If not, I'm holler at y'all later. They all came down to see me perform for the first time. But I had to change into my clothes, right? Because I had on like shorts and stuff. So I brought like my stuff to change in the car. So I'm in the parking lot and I'm changing in the car. And I guess the car was kind of moving like a little bit. And I just heard all these motherfuckers laughing outside my car. And I'm like, yo, why are these niggas laughing outside of my car like this? And they were like, well, Aaron or Al said, he's in the car putting on a chicken costume. Oh shit, that shit was hilarious, man. Oh, fun times, man. But like I said, back to my long-term goals for the scriptures. Like I said, I want to be able to complete in 1 to 5 years. I want to have completed all the Holy Scriptures and the Quran at least once. Right now, I'm on the book of 1 Samuel, and I just finished Ruth. But little things I'm learning, right? Like I said, I'm not no Bible scholar. I'm not like sent by God to break down no scripture, but I didn't realize that the story of Samson is in the book of Judges, and Samson was a judge. So I don't even know what a judge was, right? So little things like that are for our learning, right? So little things like that, is what it is. But my medium term goal for the end of the year, end of 2023, goal is to finish the 66 books that are in the traditional Bible. And right now I have like 60 hours left. If you break that down, do the math, an hour a week, I'll probably be around done. But I mean, if you listen to a half hour a day, right, for like, I don't know, if you can do if you do a half hour a day, for like 6 days, what's that? That's like what, 3 hours? So 3 divided by 60, should be able to, like I said, I'll be able to meet that goal by the end of the year, but I just got to stay consistent. And then my last topic, all the shit I want to complete. Last thing I want to do, man, is or last topic in no particular order is long-term goal is so as y'all know, I'm a machine learning enthusiast. I don't know what it is, but machine learning is just it's just fascinating to me. Neural networks, all that shit to me is fascinating. So my long-term goal is to, which is not a good long-term goal, but 1 to 5 years from now, I want to be able to know this shit like the back of my hand. Or maybe a long-term goal is 1 to 5 years from now, I teach my own course. There we go. That's a long-term goal, right? I put my own course on Udemy and teach it, right? Or maybe there's another area or another sector in machine learning that I go into that hasn't really been gone into. You know, that fits into the value of perseverance, and it fits into the value of independence, because that's a way to make money, right? But I want machine learning to be like my Call of Duty, right? I know all these motherfuckers out here playing Call of Duty, and I need to probably play some Call of Duty too. Oh man, I forgot my hand. Man, I got so much stuff I got to get done, man. I'm gonna add one more thing I got to do after machine learning. Speak of all that, right? But everyone is like playing. Everyone's playing Call of Duty. They're experts at Call of Duty. I don't play Call of Duty, but I want like machine learning to be my Call of Duty, where I'm like, I just know this shit, you know. A good medium-term goal, or a good medium-term goal for this year would be to complete courses from 3 professors. Right now, I'm like halfway through one course, but to complete 3 courses from 3 different professors would give me kind of a good wide range of, you know, so I'm not learning it from one person, you know. So it's always good to get variety or diversity in learning something different from other people, right? So one goal that I left off that I really should have had at the top, man, is the Second Amendment shit. Yeah. Like, I already took one gun training course, one firearm course. But long-term goal, 1 to 5 years from now, I want to be able to be in a situation to where I can conceal carry, you know, and I know all the laws for all the states, and I'm like an expert on that, you know, like, because I mean, this is where it's going, right? I'm not a gun fan. Matter of fact, I can't stand guns. I hate guns. You know what I'm saying? But this is the fucking game. This is the game, right? Like, they're come on, Dre. Shit, that was a bad one. They're not really doing a lot to I don't know. I really don't know what their game is or their long-term plan is with this, but all I know is other people racking up, I gotta rack up. You know what I'm saying? So the goal is in 1 to 5 years to be able to like be in a situation where I can conceal carry in accordance with the law. Good medium-term goal is to by the end of the year, like I said, this past year I did a online firearm training course, but good medium-term goal by the end of the year would be to really get in with the people, or to take a in-person class at Redstone Firearms and then lay out groundwork for a plan for all the classes and courses I need to take that can lead up to a concealed carry years down the road, right? So that's something that I need to actually like really work on, because yeah, shit out here is getting real, man. So that concludes all of my goals, long-term and medium-term goals, some short-term goals for 2023. So, and like I said, for those of y'all that are just tuning in, I'm doing this because I in the past I've lost my goals that I've either written down or put in the phone or put on a hard drive somewhere or put in Google Docs. Now it's on my podcast. Now I can't run from this shit, right? So when June comes around, I can look at, you know, where I'm at, and I can be like, man, I'm bullshitting, right? Or hopefully I can be like, you know what, man, I'm ahead of schedule. But it's all about holding myself accountable. That's what this shit is for, you know? So let's talk some brief DFS right quick. I've been on here for a minute. Let me talk some brief DFS, and then I am going to skedaddle. So let's talk about last night, right? Seahawks, 49ers. I thought I had that game figured out, man. I thought I had that shit figured out. I thought Seattle was gonna win, right? Like a lot of y'all are like, why would you think that? The Niners defense is so good. They got CMC. They got a new quarterback in Purdy, and you must not watch football. And yeah. All right, cool. I'm gonna tell y'all why I thought Seattle was gonna win. Right? I'm gonna tell you why, right? And I gotta cut this shit out. But the reason why I thought Seattle was gonna win last night on Thursday Night Football was, number one, because it was on Thursday Night Football. Right? Thursday Night Football is the Bermuda Triangle of games. Like I would not want to play a Thursday night game if I'm a team that is in playoff contention. Those games have just been so weird. Like that Rams game last week against the Raiders. Baker Mayfield came out of nowhere. They didn't even know if he was even going to get in the game. He gets in the game and throws a game-winning touchdown to beat the Raiders. That shit was weird. So that was the first reason why I picked the Seahawks. Number two, the Seahawks were wearing action green. So if you know anything about the Seahawks, before the game last night, they were 4-1 in the action green jerseys. Right? And in addition to that, when they wore they only wore the action green on Navy one time before that, and they beat the Falcons, I think it was, in Seattle. So I was like, yo, action green on Navy, 1-0 at home, Thursday Night Football. And then the Niners wore all white one time before, I think, recently. And they wore all white against Seattle when they played in Seattle last year, and they lost. So I'm thinking to myself, action green on Navy, Thursday Night Football, all white. I'm like, you gotta go with the Seahawks in that game. You gotta go with the Seahawks in that game. And then I looked at the data. I'm gonna tell you what I saw. I'm gonna tell you what I looked at when I saw the data. Let me go and pull this up right quick, because I like to show my work. So let me show you guys what I thought I saw. Let me go ahead and pull this up. But yeah, shout out to me for figuring out how to get my phone to mirror to my OBS. Let me go ahead and pull this up right quick. New movie. Boom. Okay, got that up. Let me go ahead and pull up my there we go. NFL. Let's go and break this down right quick. So here we go. Where is my video capture device? I don't want that. Here we go, window capture. And here we are. All right. So here's what I saw, right? Let's go back to week 14 when it was the Thursday night game, when it was the Raiders at the Rams, right? Let's go back to this game right quick, right? And for those of you guys that are curious, this is the app I'm using is called LineStar. This is your one-stop shop to go and get DFS data to do your analytics. So here we go. So last week, if you look at the perfect lineup, right? It was Josh Jacobs, Daniel Carlson, Baker Mayfield, Van Jefferson. You guys can read. I'm not going to read for y'all, all right? So if you notice who's not on this list, all right, let's go back to projections and let's look at by salary. Devontae Adams at the very top. They wanted $12.8K for Devontae Adams, right? And when I looked at the data last week, I thought to myself, hey, okay. We look at the numbers. Week 13, before that, he put up 40 points, right? So my thought process was there was never a time in the season where he put up 40 points, right? So originally I did pick Devontae Adams. I did pick him at first, right? Well, I picked him and I lost. But I thought to myself, 40 is close to 39, right? If you kind of look at what he does the previous game and kind of line things up, you can kind of get and you can kind of get what he's going to do, right? So I was thinking, okay, 39 is close to 40. He's going to give me at least 30 fantasy points in that game, right? So what I looked at was, I said, okay, let me go ahead and go with that. But he never scored anything in the 40s all season long. So what happened? He put up 10 fantasy points. 10 points, right? So my thought process for the other night was, let's take a look at Christian McCaffrey. They wanted 11.4K for Christian McCaffrey, right? So when you look at his numbers before the game last night, he put up 32 last game. And I'm thinking, okay, he never put up anything in the 30s again, so he's probably gonna shit the bed. And there are two reasons why I think he could have shit. Why I thought he was gonna shit the bed last night, right? Either one, because Deebo Samuel was out, right? You know, Deebo Samuel got hurt, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, if Deebo got hurt, Kyle Shanahan is gonna do one of two things. Either one, he's gonna overload Christian McCaffrey and he's gonna get hurt or get nicked up, because CMC can't carry a whole season. He can't carry a team every game with that workload, game after game, season after season. Like, nobody can. So I'm thinking to myself, he's gonna make that mistake and he's gonna twist an ankle or something, and he's not gonna play the whole game. Or two, Shanahan knows this already, so he's gonna spread the ball around even more and use him as a decoy, so he doesn't ruin his golden player, you know, or his workhorse. So I thought, since he never scored 30 points all season long, he gonna shit the bed. But he put up 28 points, and he was in the perfect lineup. So the rule I got from that was, if a player posts a season max or a season high in the previous game where the tens digit has never been reached before, it's a first time occurrence of a new tens digit, don't play that player. And that's what I got from Devontae Adams, and it didn't apply to him. So I should have played Christian McCaffrey. So that was that. But here's why I should have backed off on the Seahawks. And this is, you know, it's like I knew this going in, but I kind of mind fucked myself, right? So let's look at Tyler Lockett, right? If you look at week 5 and week 13, 30 points, right? So I should have known better that once he puts up 30 points, he's done. He's going to be done for a while. It takes him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 games to get 30 points, right? 2 games after 30, I should have known better. He's not going to put up 30 points, right? Then let's look at DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf, week 4, week 13, 24 points, 29 points. It took him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games to reach that 29 points. 2 games out, I should have known better. He's not going to get that. So if DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are the 2 players that do all the scoring, you got to ask yourself, who else is going to make up the slack or pick up the slack to score all the points? So the defense had to either come through and hold up, and then someone like Kenneth Walker had to go off, or it had to be a field goal battle, right? So long story short, I got to stop going by the uniform shit. And I should have used common sense to know that since Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf both had explosive games recently, they're not going to do that shit again. And if not, with the caliber of players that the Niners have, they're probably not going to be able to hold up. So that was my fault on that. What else did I want to show? Yeah, I want to show you guys one last thing. I've been on here for a minute. It's been a long pod. Thank y'all for tuning in right quick. But let me, before we go any further, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tell a friend to tell a friend, do all that fun internet stuff. But let me go ahead. Let's look at some hoops right quick, right? Because I want to put y'all on to something right quick. So as you guys know, all I play in DraftKings are tiers. I don't do traditional DFS when it comes to hoops. I just do tiers, right? Because tiers get you into the action a whole lot quicker, and you just got to pick between 5 players in each tier, right? So that being said, let's look at the score to see who scored. So here we go. Let me just walk you through my thought process, right? So Jabari Greer won tier 6 on December 15th last night. So one thing I've noticed is if you look at the player's history, you can kind of tell, like from a trajectory standpoint, if they're gonna do well in that tier or not, right? So for example, with Jonas Valanciunas, right? From March 4th of last year to October 23rd to December 13th, he went from 11 to 23 to 26 points. So he is increasing, but his last score is underneath the projected value of 27. So I stayed away from him. I knew to stay away from Jarred Vanderbilt, and I'm gonna tell you why. Vanderbilt has been playing great as of recent, but here's why I stayed away from Jarred Vanderbilt. Right? So on January 11th, he put up 22 points. He went 22, 32. If you guys can read along, he went 22, 32, 49. Right? And 49 is way above 26, which was the projection for last night's game. So I thought to myself, to make that high of a jump, he's already topping out his ceiling. So I knew that he was going to have a down game against New Orleans after putting up that 49 he did on December 13th. Right? So I'm glad I stayed away from that. So if you go through the rest of it, right, you're going to find either that people are decreasing. So for example, like Brook Lopez, he went from 0 to 24. Even though his 24 is above 22, he can't, like, you want to see more data. You want to see, like, 3 consecutive increases in a gradual fashion, right? Look at Zubats. Well, he was out last night, but see Caleb Martin, you see he was decreasing, right? 19, 18 down. So you want to stay away from that. So the fact that I couldn't find a player that was increasing over multiple games in a steady fashion, and that the previous game was above the projection, I said, you know what? You got to go ahead and take a chance on Jabari Smith because he has no history. Real simple. I'm not sure if you guys can hear that vacuum, but they need to cut that shit off. I'm trying to be successful right now. So that's the trend, right? See right here? This is perfect right here, right? 22, 27, 36, right? Even though he's a little under 35, that's a nice clean linear projection, or a nice clean climb from 22 to 37. Sorry, from 22 to 27 to 36. So I look for the players that increase. I look for players that have increased historically over time. But anywho, let me go ahead and close this out. All right, how do I end this? Go ahead and just hide this window capture. So that's that. So anywho, man, we are at the end of the show. Like I told you guys before, it was going to be a little lengthy because I wanted to go over some goals. Wanted to really I wanted to kind of do this for me, so I can look back in the upcoming year and see where I'm at. So yeah. So I want to thank each and every one of you. I want to say shout out to Terry. I want to say shout out to my man Rashad, Albert. Thank y'all for tuning in this year, man. Mark, I know you've been watching every now and again. Who else tuned in? Mark Lotus tuned in every now and again. Eric, thank y'all for tuning in, man. This is the last episode of Tripping with Theo Bold for 2022. For all my updates and where I'm going to be and what's coming up next, make sure you guys follow me on all my socials down below. AT is where it's at on most forms of social media. So follow me. But I gotta do that. I gotta do that like Gino. Follow me. Hey man, happy holidays to you, man. Appreciate you, Rashad. As my man Gino says, follow me. I gotta do it. Follow me. Yeah, man. Hey, thanks for thanks for tuning in, man. Thanks for the feedback, man. I do it for you, man. I do it for you, you know. One fan, one watcher, 50 watchers. I do it for you. This is for you, Yeah, man. Thanks for tuning in, man. Rashad, appreciate you like always, man. We're gonna catch up over the holidays, man. Matter of fact, we gotta go back to Yard House, man, so I can get that whole salmon put in my salad again. Them motherfuckers took a whole salmon and just dropped that shit right in my salad, man. That shit was hilarious. But yeah, we gotta do that again, Rashad. But now, man, like I said, man, AT is where it's at on most forms of social media. Follow me. But with all that being said, man, Happy New Year to you guys. Be prosperous. And thank y'all for tuning in, man. I'm gonna keep coming back with more and more content for 2023. I don't know how to wrap this shit up. I'm just talking right now. But yeah, man, thanks again, man. Appreciate it. And with all that being said, I'm out of here, folks. Peace. Yep. Tripping with Theo Bold.
Let's go.
Caliente.
Tripping. Yep. Tripping. Tripping. Tripping with Theo Bold.
Tripping with Theo Bold.